guys. I don't know what happened on the previous one, but out of nowhere, this sound. Make sure I'm not. I don't know what happened on the previous one, but out of nowhere, this sound. Make sure I'm not tripping. Like, I don't hear it now. Earlier, it just like started playing midway conversation. I'm thinking like, I did not ask for this. I don't need no music, no background music. I literally wanted to come on here just so that I can hear the sounds of rain with you guys. When I woke up this morning, I knew that it had rained last night, but it was late, and so I wanted to catch that. I wanted to catch that. I wanted to enjoy it. It was pretty late, and I could still hear it while I was preparing for bed, but I didn't go out there. And I also had decided to stay up a little late because I had a project that I was working on. So I didn't get that much sleep. So when I did wake up, it was like maybe 3, 4 o'clock, and I just decided I'm gonna go ahead and stay up, and maybe I can go ahead and play my sound bowls, but I was sleepy. So I'm like, let me get a few more hours of rest, and then I will see if I'm still feeling for it. It wasn't raining though whenever I was about to play my sound bowls. I just wanted to hear the sound, or I wanted to play the ocean sound, that other, it's like a wand, I wanted to hear that one, but I didn't end up playing it, so I was like, well, I'll just come outside. Maybe by the time I get comfortable, some rain will come down, and literally, it probably was like 5 or 10 minutes afterwards, and all of a sudden, here comes the rain. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to record this because I want to hear the rain. Yeah, it really is. It really is peaceful. I just wanted to try to catch it. This morning I wanted to play the instruments, the sounds of it. We could either play our instruments or we could play the YouTube videos of it or whatnot. And I was like, if I get to catch the rain today, I am going to just go out there and just enjoy the sound naturally. So I wanted to do that this morning. I woke up and I got out here and I was able to catch it in time. So fortunately, I'm here. I'm here. How are you today? See, even the thunder is trying to come through. The interesting thing that I've recognized since I've been back in the South is that when it rains, and there's a bit of flooding that occurs. When I went out yesterday to go pick up my daughter, it was flooding, and people were getting out of their cars and they were pushing the cars, pushing people out of the roads and stuff like that to avoid them damaging the car or wrecking the car or whatnot. And I was just like, well, that's interesting down here in the South. I miss the rain and I appreciate it. It's good to know that you're doing okay. I pray that you're continuously doing okay, and that you are well, and that you are successful in all of your endeavors. You have some really good content as well. Might I also add, I like visiting your page. I'm really just using this live stream to record a video that I plan on making today. I don't think that, I don't really have I was just using the camera to really record. As I tried to record earlier, but you only get like 10 minutes or so to record certain things. But But the topic that I wanted to share was definitely much longer than 10 minutes. And so I said, well, I'll use this camera, and then whenever I'm done with it, I'll just upload it to my YouTube channel. So that's what I figured that I would do, and I was going to work on today. I um I know that a lot of people like to talk about the different transits, different astrology transits, and its effect on them, you know. And while sometimes I just feel like if we didn't know what, if we didn't know, what moon it was in, we really wouldn't be able to say, "Oh, you're gonna stick around and listen." I appreciate it. I appreciate it. So I'm not talking to myself. I appreciate it. But so I wanted to talk about astrology, and I want to talk about this moon, and I want to talk about spiritual collectives and pattern recognitions. It's very, very deep, so, if it resonates, I appreciate your insights and feedback. But yeah, so as I said, today, whenever I woke up, I was thinking, okay, I'm going to play my sound bowls. This is something that I've decided that I was going to, stay consistent with for the next 5 or 6 months. It was about 4 o'clock whenever I woke up, and excuse me, not wake up. This is about 4 o'clock when I just decided to like rise up and like start the day. But I hadn't been asleep. I had not been asleep yet, and so since I hadn't been asleep, I said, "Oh, I'm actually a little sleepy still. I think I want to take a nap." Um, so I decided I'm taking a nap, like 2, 3 hour nap. I woke up at 7 o'clock, and I was like, "Okay, it's still gloomy outside. It might be some rain." So instead of me playing my sound frequencies, I was like, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and I'll just go outside and hopefully I catch the sound outside. Um, Now this sound bowl thing has been something that I said that I would dedicate to for the next 5 or 6 months, just being consistent with it. But this is just a goal that I've created for myself. It's not something that is like collectively, I want to be on this energy field as everyone else, and in order for me to accomplish it, put in my measurements, or like measuring myself based on everybody else and what everybody else is doing. So whenever I decided that I wasn't going to play the instrument today, I was like, this is usually how people end up, you know falling into that whole idea that if they didn't do the thing that they said they would do, then they start, you know, creating guilt in their minds. And I'm like, it's not a situation where I need to create any form of guilt, because I didn't do it. I didn't wake up to record myself playing the instruments, because even though I didn't play the instruments, I came outside to do to listen to what is naturally here. And I think that we don't, take in moments like that where it's like intuitively, are you following yourself like intuitively, and what it is that you could be doing versus what you are being told to do, or what you think collectively everybody would expect you to do, or that you could benefit from. So does that make sense? Does that make sense? If you if you understand what I mean. And I also used to be like one of those individuals too, where it's like, oh, okay, it is a Gemini moon coming, so during this season, everybody's going to be doing X, Y, Z. But then I realized that there is no one way to coexist. There's no, or matter of fact, not coexist, but to exist. Yeah, yeah. Your mind says one thing, but spirit says another. It's all still alignment. Yeah, it is. I have my plans, and then spirit is going to move how it wants to move, right? And yes, it is still alignment, because, like I said, as soon as I came outside, within 5 to 10 minutes, the sounds of rain came. Although it wasn't me playing my instrument, it was still the sound of rain, which is what I wanted to receive anyway. So I say, like, I'm here. I'm enjoying this, and I get to share it, right? So I just was thinking, like, how, I see on social media, everyone's like, Scorpio moon, Scorpio full moon, Scorpio full moon. I'm Scorpio too, so I'm like, how would this really affect me? Well, I know what I have been doing for the last 4 months. I know what I've been doing for the last 3 weeks. And I know what I said that I was going to do for the next 6 months. So, I am looking at what intuitively I am feeling, and what intuitively I have um, a desire to do, or that I feel inspired to do. Said it's like we know what to do, but our spirit shows us how to do it and feel it sometimes. I move ahead, my spirit guide. I say I move ahead of my spirit guides. hmm That's true. So it's good to follow into our intuition. Whenever lately I have been talking about primordial intelligence, right? Even as a Ifa Sheshe practitioner, usually the conversations are surrounding ancestral wisdom, ancestral veneration, doing things by the ways of our ancestors. And while, you know, there may be an advantage for that, we also have to consider that we live in a different time period. And not only do we live in a different time period, before we came to even understand different spiritual systems and different religious practices, we were already born with a a motherboard. You know what I'm saying? Like a system inside of us. And of course, throughout time, we lose our way, and then we're either guided through the Abrahamic religion or Abrahamic path, and or we're guided to do things alternatively, through different spiritual systems. So intuitively, we already have a code that exists within us that will assist us, like you said, to move ahead and to be guided by spirit. And that's to me like the most important thing. So before I jump on board with the collective and agree, because ultimately it's about agreements, right? It's about agreements. When you are told a thing or told to do a thing, the only reason why it will impact your life is because you agree to it, whether it is for your favor or not. So when everyone's like, okay, it's a Scorpio full moon, I'm thinking, okay, I'm a Scorpio, but how would this really affect me? When I look up in the sky at nighttime, when I see the moon, I'm not thinking this is a Scorpio moon. I'm thinking, okay, I am enjoying myself at this moment, and or I'm going through this at this particular time. So what am I going to do to process this? How is it going to affect me? I have yet to really be affected, I would say 100%, by what collective spiritual communities do. It doesn't absolutely serve me the best when I am operating based off of spiritual collectives systems alone. Like I have to do my own thing. I have to um, follow what my intuition is telling me to do. And sometimes that might not even look or benefit other individuals. It might not be favorable for other individuals. It might be non conducive, and inconveniencing for them. But, you know, I am aware enough to know not to agree to something that I cannot fulfill or cannot, you know what I'm saying? I cannot agree to do things with others. So I wouldn't make agreements or pacts with communities if I know that I'm not going to benefit for it, and that it would be a disadvantage for them for me to even say that I would. So no. Now back to the whole Scorpio full moon thing. Everybody is saying how oh, you can expect this, you can expect that, what to do for this, what to do for that. To me, that's like another form of consumerism, because I know a lot of people who jump on the spiritual bandwagon, and now they're like, okay, during this time we need to be wearing this, or during this time we need to be speaking this, during this time I need to be using this herb, saying this affirmation during this time. You know what I'm saying? But they have not done their own self-assessment to say what exactly it means for them and what do they need during this time before they just agree what everybody else is doing. Everybody else is, you know, doing things a certain way. It's just like the Ifa and Sheshe community where they say, today is what is it? Friday, Thursday. Today is Oshun Day, or today is Shango Day. Today we wear red because it is a Friday. Or other spiritual systems were like, oh, today is Friday. This is a Venus Day. The candle of the day should be yellow. Now I gotta go outside and I gotta go buy a yellow candle because everybody else said that on this day, this is the candle that we should be using for spirituality. No, um, mm, I don't really follow, trends and, spiritual systems to 100% when it comes to that. I need to do a self-assessment and know what I am called to do during this time. What type of commitments that I have made for myself that will benefit me. Um, so that was one of the things that I wanted to talk about in terms of the full moon and spiritual system. Now, something that I did realize is that even though I have already been at work, well, doing certain works and different programs of my own over the last 6 months, was the consistency. It's been a definite wave of consistency for me in the last 3 weeks in terms of making my own content, and been into that's why I have been creating these series about primordial intelligence. So you say I tried to get into E5 after I had a divination, and despite my Odu, it all is all overstimulating. It can be overstimulating. That's why you gotta have somebody that's competent and supportive with you, because most systems are stimulating. And again, that's another reason why for Sacred Waters Healing Temple, my foundation, of course, has been Ifa Sheshe, and I understand it for what it is. And it's in a simplistic form. Ifa Sheshe is about making the world better, right? Being in tune with nature, being in tune with nature, and following the path, following and also honoring the path of our ancestors. Now, granted, we are here in the diaspora, and many of us might already have, we might actually be connected to Yoruba lineages, like direct blood descendants. I mean, you know your aunts and uncles, you know your relatives directly, so you can pretty much identify and name them. They're probably still out and about walking. You could visit them. You know that they are directly from Nigeria. But then some of us don't know that. So, a lot of us here in the diaspora are like a blend of different things, especially in, whether southeast, you got Choctaw people, Gullah-Geechee people, Cherokee people. You got the Appalachian people up northeast, Midwest and all that stuff. You got Native people coming through. Like, majority of us are coming through with so many different things. So even though one could subscribe to Ifa Sheshe, the Isheshe part of that is living by the ways of your ancestors. And so if your ancestors are individuals who are from this here this here part of the world, then you would do as your ancestors did here. And so that's why we have Kudu. And some people who are still connected to Christianity, it's based on what they are able to do, what resonates with you. You don't want to be somewhere overstimulated and lost in the sauce because you don't understand the thing. But again, that's the reason why I have began the series of primordial intelligence, because for me, and Ifa Sheshe, even as an individual, like before Ifa Sheshe, found me. Found me. I already had my own intuition, and I pretty much, I would say that I was following my intuition, but it was definitely, I would say, to a degree, unstable or emotionally led intuition, to say the least. Like I knew some things, definitely was connected, always finding meanings to things. Um, that's how I made my connections with people. That's how I made my decisions based off of the meaning and value that it brought to me in my life. And so I am deeply intuitive when it comes to things. When it comes down to even wanting to better my life and improve my life, like today I can do divination for myself, but I also know that intuitive something, if I want to better myself, correct myself, I can correct myself. Like I don't need religion to tell me how to correct things. If I don't like the outcome of it, I want to correct my life. If I am not receiving favor from a thing or a way of living, then I'm going to find a way to improve or enhance my life with that. And so some people run to different spiritual systems because they lack the skill set to be able to do that, to be able to correct themselves. And so they need, like a moral guide system. Some of history, Sanko, am I saying it right? I'm not sure what that word is. Some of history, Shango, I'm saying it wrong. But them ancestors too gangster for me. They too gangster. Well, at least at least you know what energy or ancestors you come from. It's better to know than to not know, because there's a lot of individuals who are out here operating, and they are not aware of who walks with them, who's walking in alignment with them, or even against them. So while it can be overstimulating to figure out, I think that being able to find a sense of connection and being able to find a sense of, being like you belongings. That's the better word for it. Being able to find a sense of belonging is much more better. Like it helps. It can help heal a lot of people. It says, yeah, my ancestors was a give back type of people, so I try not to get mad because I pray to them and they take it far. Hey, you know, another thing, like as a intuitive person, I realized that the interpretations are merely you. Like you interpret the messages of things, and also the interpretations can be from the other person that might be divining on your behalf. And so it's all up to us to decide of whether or not we're going to agree to whatever it is belief that we have about ourselves and our spiritual systems. But I think at the end of the day, when you decide whatever path that you want to be on, whether it is an individual path or a path that belongs to a community, I think it's important to know if whether or not you are being benefited from this. And so another topic I wanted to talk about was who benefits the most from spiritual communities, actual spiritual communities. I have never really been a part of a spiritual community. My first Elay was miles and miles, like over 600 miles away from me. I was only virtual with them because I was living out of the country. So because I was living out of the country, I didn't have direct connection with the first Elay that I was. Even my original Elay, my family, I always been one that left the house since the age of 13 and traveled. And so, um, for me, my Elay, my spiritual community has been more broad, and I meet people along the way type of thing, versus just sticking to one place, one group of people. And is everybody has their own walk, their own path, and so whatever benefits you at the time. I just know that for me, I haven't benefited much from a collective, and the reason being is I would say that even when I stick around long enough inside spiritual collectives, spiritual groups or whatnot, I tend to start to see things that others won't see, or I become more, um, just I'm like feeling things. It's stuff to feel stuff. It's like what. So to others that might be a normal thing, but for me, I'm like, no, I can't really get with that. I can't agree with it. And since I'm not an individual that submits to just anything, that can be problematic. And so I have learned that spiritual communities are not a thing for me, especially because I'm honest. Like, I'm honest to myself, and I'm a protective person as well. And I don't gain anything by being manipulative or trying to um, take advantage of other people. So I don't even need a following to, even with Sacred Waters Healing Temple. My Elay, Sacred Waters Healing Temple, encourages more of the sovereign path more than anything. Um, and that being is because I'm aware of stuff, and I prefer to pretty much learn and strengthen more of what it is that I need in order to navigate the world better, navigate the world, circumstances, situations, and different type of groups of people as they come. I be needed to navigate it because there'll be a lot of stuff that be going on in different spiritual communities, and it's crazy. Like, you either have those who have been bred to like become individuals who perform and behave a certain way, or you are one that is being affected by it. And you know, I have been one that's more like affected. Like, even if I could do anything, I would choose not to. I would rather go the other path and do my own thing versus wait on to see if somebody else is going to adhere to whatever the fuck I got going on. I'm gonna go. I'm not on nobody else's time. I have my own rhythm, my own pace to do stuff. But anyhow, I'm kind of drifting off, so I digress. Um, it's important for us to be aware of different systems and different tactics that exist in spiritual communities. Um, and like I said, lately I have been uh, pretty much persistent with the conversation surrounding primordial intelligence. And over the last few days, I've been talking about protecting one's essence and the importance of protecting one's essence, because we are born with a mission and a purpose here in this world in order to do a thing. And sometimes many of us have not discovered what our gifts and talents are in this world. And then we come across different individuals who may impact our lives so much that we are not able to access those things. And so, not even individuals, but it could also be circumstances, environments. These are things that impact and cause a more like they are the reason why you have a foundation the way that you have it. They create your perception, your reality to things, and it's programming. Ultimately, it's a program. So this brain is trying to get loud. Like, the more that I'm speaking, the more that I'm speaking. So, like I said, I've been talking about protecting one's essence and the importance of doing these things. And so, my community, my Ela, like my audience, like I merely speak for those individuals who have undergone um, different hardships, financial, physical, um, uh, family displacement, traveling, you know what I'm saying, housing discrepancies, things like that, disabilities. Like I speak to individuals who have gone through some shit, to say the least. Like that's where I come. Like that's my experience. I can only talk from my experience. So I'm constantly talking about how to really preserve one's essence based off of that framework. And right now, I'm about to start talking more so about systems and the reason why we need to um, focus on our systems and what we need. Right? Yeah, we go from preserving one's essence. That's understanding who we are and what our purpose is in the world. Who we are, what is our purpose in the world, and how do we stay in alignment with our destinies to do so. Now, everybody got a different purpose. Everybody has a different purpose, in this world, and so everybody should figure that out. If you figure it out, once you figure it out, then you know, well, what is it that you need to do in order to sustain in a life and to have longevity, to be able to have life force? What do you have to do? Well, a lot of the things that you end up having to do, it requires a strategy. And for individuals who have gone through really harsh things, it requires an even more in-depth knowing of what you need to do in order to be strategic in your life so that you can stay in alignment and stay on accordance with what you need. So one of the things that I feel like that's really key, imperative, is understanding um, the different psychological tactics that exist inside spiritual communities. It will be very negligent of a person to go about different spiritual communities and not be armed for war. It would be very negligent, right? That's why, like I said, I'm not one that like goes about hopping around from spiritual here, spiritual there. Like I've learned my lesson by groups, and I understand that my path is just a little different when it comes to things. So it will be really negligent for us as individuals and as as people who are responsible for children to not have your armor up whenever you're going about into the world and experiencing other people, especially different spiritual communities. Because just like right now, it is a full moon in Scorpio, according to what everybody else is talking about. Everybody else is talking about it, and somehow everybody is joining in agreement with the energy, as we know is Scorpio full moon. Everybody's coming together to gather. All you need is two people in order to say that you're gathering or you're in company with someone. When you get two people to come together and invoke a certain type of energy, if they want to do it against you, then you could be at a disadvantage. And if you're not going about your life being aware of those type of things, then you are making yourself weak and susceptible to predatory behaviors and stuff like that. That's where I'm going with the conversation. Is that I don't trust all collectives. I don't trust all healing collectives. Everybody come together for this one mission. You know what I'm saying? Because there was a point in time in life, and as we know it in history, where a group of entities came together for the demise of a particular group of people. We know the copper people, right? So why would we do that? Why would I want to join in community with people and I don't trust or know what their intentions are? If their intentions are in accordance with what I believe in, and then here I am submitting my ori to them, and it's against me. So no, I have not benefited from spiritual communities. And I speak very candidly about that because, especially over like the last 3 years, I have recognized different psychological games that appear that show up in spiritual communities. And so, um, just because I'm experiencing, another person could be like, "Oh, she tripping," you know what I'm saying? She geeking. Sounds like she's going through some type of spiritual warfare. She, putting all that bullshit out on me when it's just what I witness. It's what I'm witnessing, and what a lot of people are. Like I said, they're either the breeders, the doers, the ones causing, getting, benefiting from it, or they are being affected and impacted, and they're afraid of it. And so you're either on one side or the other. But if you're not going to be vigilant in preserving your own essence, then you're going to be a victim of it. You're going to be a victim. And so I speak about these things from my own lived observation, and also experiences. And so I'm not just like pulling down based off of something that I read anywhere. This is like truly lived experiences, right? And I'm speaking from my own lens, what I consider to be primordial intelligence. So the ability to see these patterns for me have benefited me more than actually being involved in these elays. So it's benefited me, and it'll continue to benefit me and those who connect with me and in my children, my lineage or whatnot. It's important to be able to recognize these patterns clearly without any type of distortion, because you need to name what's going on with you. As we're talking about building different systems, for ourselves, and coming back into the primordial intelligence, we have to understand. I'm gonna call these the 3C's. This is coordination, coverts, and also control. My instant is burning. I want to light this again. This is my lighter. So yes, you got different tactics. You got coercion, and I'm going to tell you guys about a incident that happened to me, and the reason why I want to bring this up today, because it's very trippy. It's very trippy, and the way that it played out, you would be like, I would have reacted like that too. Like I said, I don't really function in spiritual communities, and I haven't been to church in over 10 years, But we recently relocated, and because I homeschool, um, we was invited to go to church, and I accepted. But the way that it happened was very, very interesting, right? And I have noticed this being done several times throughout different spiritual spaces, and so since I've noticed it frequently, I'm able to define, what it is. So one day, my son and I was out and about. I use a wheelchair. I use a wheelchair. My wheelchair is right here. And my son was helping me to bring my wheelchair out of the car. This is something that we do all the time. And I know, like, while he's helping me, I'm talking smack. He's talking smack. This is our language. I homeschool, so we have our own language, how we talk. And it's not like shit talking like bad or anything like that, but it's like, we're just getting through. We're just talking, just going back and forth. And as we're talking, and he's helping to assist me with bringing the chair from the other side of the car or whatnot, I get out, I get into the car, and then we head on into the store. And as we headed into the store, we start, picking through the produce section, and we're moving about through the aisles. And this lady kind of just like comes and abruptly inserts herself between my son and I. And so I'm thinking like, well, goddamn, you know what I'm saying? If you gonna get there, go ahead. And she's like, oh, no, I don't mean to. I'm really just trying to get to you. So I'm like, okay, how can I help you? I just was wanting to take the moment to acknowledge how impressed I was when I saw your son putting the chair together for you. I just wanted to say, like, wow, you are doing such a great job of raising him. He's so well mannered, different things like that. And I'm like, yeah, inside I'm like, we do this every day. You know what I'm saying? We like, this is nothing. I can do it myself. He want to help. We do these things every day. So I'm thinking like, okay, yeah, thank you. That's kind of you. Thank you. And so he was like, I just wanted to gift you some money. So she gifts him some money, and then she says, "Where are you guys from? Are you originally from here?" And I'm like, "We just relocated." Then she's like, "Okay, well, I wanted to invite you guys out to name of the church. We're having a revival, and these things was happening." I'm like, "Okay, appreciate the invite. Um, I definitely would consider it." So she wanted to exchange contact. She's like, "Are you connected to any type of communities?" And I'm like, "No, Well, she's like, "Let's exchange contact." So we exchanged contact. Then next thing you know, it turned into, you know, her inviting me out for lunch. And next thing you know, we meet another day, and now we're at the church. So we meet at the church, and she's like going about telling everybody about how she met us. And she could just tell that, God really wanted her to do this and really bring us in and this, and that. But I knew firsthand that she really was trying to like recruit and bring us in for like revival, because this is during the time of revival and all that stuff. And so I'm just like observing at this point. Again, I hadn't been to church in like 11 years, so I'm just observing things for what it is, and especially because we're like new, and I'm not familiar with what goes on in this area. So anyway, I attend church, and the pastor's message, right? Interesting. The pastor's message was, about what was he talking about? He's of course he talked about revival. He talked about certain instances regarding how things abruptly happen, coincidentally, and about how his family has to, get through hard times during these times, especially during revival, when he knows that he's out doing the Lord's work and the mission, to recruit as many people as he can. So whenever he kept talking about the recruiting part, I was like, oh, okay, so he got everybody pretty much here doing the work of recruiting people. So I was like, okay, so I totally get it that he got everybody recruiting for this revival, this event that's going to happen. And he also adds in like the pressure of not being a part of the revival, and how your life could be going downhill if you do not attend, or if you're not going to be a part of it. And he also kept talking about a certain number, like wanted to meet a certain number of people. So everybody should be out, getting more people to come and be a part of this revival. So first off, I'm able to recognize, what is really going on beyond, this whole admiration and impression that she had of her being impressed by my son helping and whatnot. It was to me like, okay, not only it comes off as harmless on the surface, but stuff like this leads to, oh, I just wanted to, check in with you. Oh, I just want to see how you guys are doing. Oh, I just want to make sure that, you guys are supported, X, Y, and Z, things like that. Things like this, I know, can easily turn into more of a surveillance type of behavior. Okay. Trust me. I am not tripping whenever I say this. I am familiar with it. And if you are not aware of things the way that I am, then you could easily be caught off guard by it for the most part. You know, the idea of her going about and repeating the story and how she met us, and I started to notice some inconsistencies with how she met us. She literally said that she was, dropping off some items to a friend, and she was just thinking about, what it was that she needed to do. She knew that she had to, you know, invite some people to church for revival. So she was like, okay, I don't really ever come to this grocery store. I don't really ever come to this grocery store. So she says, I don't really ever come to this grocery store, but I just found it so interesting that the day that I did decide to come to this grocery store, I ran across you and your amazing son. Amazing, the emphasis on my son, or whatnot. I already knew where it was basically going. Like I said, it's like instances, patterns, pattern recognition. When you step back and you finally feel and see, what it's all about, you start to really understand, like, okay, I'm able to locate where things are going emotionally, mentally, physically. I'm able to gather all of this information. Another part of the primordial intelligence is also mapping things out. You map things out based on your experience that's happening outside of you, and you also map things out that's happening internally within your body, right? And so that whenever something becomes repetitive, you be able to recognize what's going on. So when your body's recognizing something that your mind hasn't fully articulated yet, you over time you'll be able to get used to it, and you'll make sense of basically what that is. Greetings, welcome. Thanks for visiting the chat. Thanks for visiting. I'm just recording the video. This is for another platform that I use. So I'm using TikTok to record the video. So yeah, eventually you'll be able to articulate it. Once you recognize the pattern again and again and again, even though it had been 10, 11 years since I had been to church, I had already experienced some similar behavior, or witnessing similar behaviors within different alternative communities and work companies, group settings or whatnot. So I'm familiar with this. So anyway, these type of behaviors can also look like people just saying like, oh yeah, I just really, thought you guys, I really just thought that it would be great to meet some people and just want to talk. And then, like I said, with the whole ambushing thing, like I kind of felt like I was being ambushed. I'm not even going to lie to you. After a while, I did really feel like I was being ambushed, because we in the aisle at the grocery store, and could have went, behind, but instead you're cutting through my son and I as we're shopping through the produce section. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm on my way somewhere and I'm minding my business, and then suddenly someone just intercepts me. And not only do they intercept me, is, hey, I just wanted to let you know, okay, we got a mission here. The mission that turns into something real quick, into more pressure. You can ask them whereabouts, where we become more personal things to try to get to know each other on a friend level. You put your invitation out there, and to come off more like friendly, but it's a motive behind that. So anyway, I'm talking about, this type of pattern on Sacred Waters Healing Temple as a framework, that it's important to understand that this is a mere disruption of energy. If you already have a system in place of how you want to live your life, and that system is going well for you, and you just trust in your inner knowing, and knowing that I'm good with where I'm at. I'm good with the program that I already have. I really don't need to go anywhere else. I'm content. Versus feeling like, oh, I'm missing out on something, or I don't have friends. I'm alone. I want to put myself in certain atmospheres for opportunistic reasons. All of that is another way to disrupt your system and your inner knowing, and your energy for the most part. And as primordial beings, we understand that, our time is not only currency, but it is life force, and it is like water. It's healing. So we have to be governors of our own time and our energy and our thoughts and what we're going to be doing. You have to be in control of your own life. The system that you have in place for yourself is you having control, you having more sovereignty over your life. Your attention is your current. Anything that tries to force itself into that flow of energy and currency that you have already sustained within yourself without consent is already operating out of misalignment. And if you agree to it, then you too will be operating out of misalignment. Another layer of this is the digital monitoring of people. Yeah, these like social media platforms where you got these people who do what, like farming content, where they will, sit and wait. And of course, this is social media. So if you see something you like, you want to subscribe. You're going to subscribe to it. If you see someone that you're attracted to, you want to subscribe to it, follow it, you will hit the notification. Ain't that like the ritual everybody says? If this resonates with you, hit like, comment, subscribe, and turn on the bell notifications so that you don't miss anything. Like that's a part of the ritual. And so while we're creators in this world, we're creating content in this world, and in order to reach a demographic of people, whomever our audience may be, we are not in control of the individuals who receive us. We can't be in control of the individuals that receive us and what they intend to do, like what are their intentions are. I, over the last few weeks, have I had to take in some BS because I'm realizing that there's someone literally mimicking everything that I'm doing, my ideas, my concepts, and then also like creating a whole persona as if they are me, and I got receipts to like show it. So I'm not being paranoid. I'm not like I'm not being arrogant or egotistical about anything. Like it's truly what I see. So anyway, I'm going off a tangent. You know what I'm saying? But I'm recognizing that in the digital monitoring world of things, people don't talk about how people do the same psychological bullshit, the same thing. So anytime you post something, immediately there's a response. You notice the same individuals watching everything, reacting to everything, showing up everywhere, like immediately, like they're there, making their presence known constantly. It's interesting to me, like the monitoring of people and what they do is. So once you start receiving these random following requests, the messages and stuff to check-ins that feel like a little like off or whatnot, it starts to mirror the feeling of being followed as if you're in the physical world, right? As if you're in the physical world, because it's truly happening. It's happening online. I've seen, different instances online where big content creators, they're going about, it was like during the 24-hour challenge. During the 24-hour challenge, this group of girls or whatever was out and about, and they ran across somebody who was a subscriber of theirs, and he wanted to try to hang out with them for the 24 hours, and then they realized that he wasn't just some random person, that he literally mapped out where these individuals were, how to get to them, and then just like followed them around and tried to play naive and victim. And then it was a certain instance where out of nowhere he started geeking, freaking out, and start threatening in their life and his own life. So they had to get the fuck up out of there. They was trying to find different ways to ditch him, and eventually they had to run into somebody to help to annihilate the situation and separate them from this individuals. And fortunately, they was able to survive that and come out of it. But it happens. These are things that really do happen. And again, it's all in coordination with what is repeated, that it stops being just a coincidence and it starts to become a pattern. And when we're talking about developing systems that we need in order to sustain our lives and preserve our life force, our true essence, right? Then it's important for us to develop certain systems that we need in order to sustain ourselves. And in those systems that we have to be aware systems that we need in order to sustain ourselves. And in those systems that we have to be aware of the different psychological whenever you might have somebody sitting on the other side of the videos that you're making, and they are screen playing to an audience of their own, monitoring you and your gestures or mannerism, your voice, the way that you say things, your thoughts, your concepts and frameworks. Like all of this is happening. And we think it's just genuine engagement, but in fact it's someone else who is living an inauthentic life, misalignment, and a very predatory type of life. And while I was on the topic of collective spiritual communities, right? I do understand that energy is vast. Everybody is a part of an energetic force. It's just though that there are some people who pervert energy, like, and become very fetishized about being a part of energetic beings who are light beings and also dark beings too. So yeah, there's a lot to learn when it comes down to forming a system, preserving essence, and being in control of one's life. Then there's like I said, the collective messaging. The collective messages. Scorpio full moon. Right? Everybody is supposed to receive the Scorpio full moon, and also somehow we all living and doing the same thing because it's supposed to be affecting all of us at once. I would have to disagree. Okay. What I'm doing right now is not something that I would have been doing 6 months ago. What I'm doing right now is based off of my own determination and devotion to sit here on this video and continue to make these live videos, whether anybody joins this chat or not. Like, I'm doing it for myself. 6 months ago, I wouldn't have been doing this at all. Okay. So it becomes very, very clear that those collective messaging is not just for one person. Like, it's a system as well. So that's why I don't agree to collective messages. This message is for the collective. No, I don't agree to things like that because, like I said earlier, there was a point in time in life where collectively a group of people came together for the demise and destruction of one entity, one ethnicity, which was Copper Band people, my people. They came together to destroy, colonize, and really just disrupt our bloodline. Okay, so I don't believe in that because if I even did it here in this modern day and time, I could also be agreeing to the demise of my own. Agreeing to people coming together for the demise of myself. So hell no, ma'am, no sir. I think I would not like to be a part of that. I don't know what you niggas is over there kumbayaing about. I don't know what y'all got going on over there, humming and dancing and burning sages and stuff. No, I can do what I do here in my own settings, with my own folks, my own people. And we can collectively do what we need to do for our lineage. Right? That's the system that I create. That's the system that I create. So I'm not one to be like, oh, this here is for the collective message. Once I start hearing the same language from multiple people, the same concerns on top of that, the same reminders, warnings and all of that type, it starts to sound a bit crazy, start to sound, a bit trippy, you know what I'm saying? And it becomes religious. And I don't practice religion. I am the religion. Like, people watch and study me to form religions. People study my people. People do things to get rises and reactions, pour rise and reactions out of my people in order to study them and to be, in order for it to benefit their lives in a way, in a way that's really actually disadvantaging for us. So no, I don't subscribe to everybody that does the same thing, and it starts to because to me it becomes again predatorial. Like, people preying on one individual, right? People preying on a group of people, and even though that they might try to make it seem like, oh, this is for the betterment of the collective, this is for the betterment, everybody must do it. No. That's not how stuff works. Not even in the body. That's not even how things biologically work. It's for everybody to come together for the betterment of the people. And when it comes down to healing in skin, there are some cells on the body that work against, quote unquote, what we may see as natural, but it's necessary. So that's why we have like dead skin peeling off, because it needs to eliminate. It needs to remove itself. So again, what may seem as like, okay, this is for the benefit of my entire body, it's not. Like, dead skin has to shed, hair gotta fall. You know what I'm saying? I heard about how even there's little mites, little cells that exist on the eyelids. I've heard the story. Little cells that exist on the eyelids that are supposed to eat at the skin so that we are able to see. Somebody just texted me. Let me see. Lafia, Bora Boyer, Boshishe. Yeah, so like I was saying, it's important to understand these different tactics and stuff that exist, because you want to be able to recognize the patterns, because what may appear to be as concern might in fact be a threat. So that concern might come off as, we're just worried about you, you haven't seen you in a while, we're just concerned about what you got going on, remember what you said you were going to do, what you were committing to. Remember, you said you wanted to come to church, you said you wanted to get your life back on the right track. That is how they would turn their control into concern, by saying different things like that. Again, recognize the patterns as they come when you're dealing with people in these spiritual communities. Another type of language is, remember what you started. Remember, no place is perfect. You go everywhere you run to, you're going to find yourself. Remember, start what you finish type of thing. Those are all control statements of control, statements of manipulation. You know what I'm saying? Stay where you are. Don't question. Don't leave. Don't disrupt any of the structures that's going on, and don't question the behavior patterns that you're seeing. You know, they benefit for, that they are performing over you. That's, to me, again, it's a part of witchcraft that I won't ever participate in. And that's why I don't care to be a part of different elays, different spiritual communities, and different spiritual settings. In these different spiritual communities, this is something that comes from the pulpit in most cases. This is like people who are direct uh, beneficiaries of the pulpit, from leadership to sermons that are indirectly, they're indirectly addressing you without naming you, like messages about your loyalty, messages about your presence, right? Your behaviors and what they disapprove of, the things that you're doing, right? Different ways of how you honor and how you show up. The messages from the spiritual communities get really, really, really wicked, okay? They start to weaponize things and threaten you based on by saying that there will be consequences for those who leave. I have heard it. It happened to me in real time. It's happened to me in real time. You know, it's like threatening an individual because they decide to take on a path that is separate from the collective. And so while at times it may be framed as general teaching, the target person who is speaking about you knows exactly what it is that they're trying to convey and they're trying to imprint fear, right? They're trying to imprint fear into your psyche so that you won't be able to access your own intuition and your own emotions and what you're going through. And then so that you won't be able to, so that you won't believe in yourself, and others won't believe in it either, because it can really catch you off guard. Like, you know, you're not really able to, like I said, articulate the type of behavior in the beginning, so you recognize the different patterns and how it shows up again and again. Those who are in leadership will do the best that they can to try to mask it as genuine concern until the veil starts to unravel, and it creates like thorns between you and those who are supposed to be deemed as leaders in your community. So it creates this pressure that comes from leadership, not from the entire community. You know, their goal is to just destabilize you, right? Destabilize you, but mobilize everybody else surrounding, everybody else that's involved, to ensure that those people who are involved will reinforce the same narrative and to check in with you and keep tabs on you and seeing where you're going. That you have to recognize those type of patterns when you're going into these type of spaces. The day that I was out with my son, for me, it was just a regular day. We were just going to the grocery store, and then unbeknownst to us, here comes someone who has been sitting in the parking lot watching us. Sitting in the parking lot watching us with her own intentions and her own motives was to basically go about and hey, good morning.
How's everything been?
Huh? It's been
How's
good.
everything been?
It's getting colder.
Yeah.
Destabilize and demobilize us. What was I going? She was sitting in the parking lot, basically, you know, waiting for some people to show up. And for some people to show up that she can you know, do her recruiting, so she can. All she needs is one person, I guess. I don't know, but we was just having a regular day. This is just a regular old day, and somebody's just like observing and watching us, and they got a whole plan, and your name is being in rotation, and Next thing you know, one thing leads to the next. You're being invited somewhere, and I don't know. What another thing that gets me is that people will study you, and you're not even aware of it. And so it gets very, very, very trippy, you know. But this is a vampire warlock type of behavior. I was reading this post the other day where the individual that I told you guys, recognizing that he's a stalker, basically. Literally, his post says something about enemies rising up against one, and how important it is to recognize narcissistic behaviors. Like, he's literally describing himself and how they try to manipulate and use your energy in order to alchemize it for the benefit of themselves. Literally describing his goddamn self. And I'm sitting here like, this man is mimicking everything. Like, he's trying to mimic my son's name. He's trying to mimic the type of career and industry path that I have. He's trying to mimic the type of practices that I have. He tried to date women and try to enforce the things that I remember that I used to do, that think ways that he benefited off of me. He's like trying to do the same thing. But I'm seeing the inconsistency because I'm seeing that this person is like, their counterpart is a whole Christian. They're not even into sacred or divine or alternative spiritual systems. They're not even into it. So I've noticed this pattern over the last 11 years. You do it again and again. You try to find people inside of Christian backgrounds and try to, psych them into becoming what you couldn't receive from me. Warlock behavior, siphoning, and imitation. Trying to be manipulative with different energy forces. That shit is out of hand. Out of hand to me. Hey. I've been on here for a long time. talking. So, like I was saying, like I was able to recognize it because I have already been familiar with this type of behavior within different spiritual communities. So as she was approaching, it wasn't just no genuine thing. Like, I'm observing the way that she positioned herself, the way that she was trying to just coerce, different things, coercing her engagement with us. It wasn't organic, right? It was very, very meticulous and mapped out. And I could even go further because it's been some more time with everything. I could even go further with what I noticed, but I'm not even going to go deep. I'm just really trying to get the point across in this video is the importance of doing what you need to do spiritually and forming your own foundation and system so that you are in control of your outcome. So the outcome of things is more favorable for you. I noticed that this person opened up with a compliment. She spoke highly of my son. She affirmed my parenting was good. She was affirming how strong I was. She went for me being in a wheelchair. She talked about, what she observed, and what she was trying to do was simply build trust and confidence in the relationship within a short period of time, right? Ask her questions about where we're from, if we're new, are we a part of a community, have we been established, and then she gave a gift. She gave my son some money. So that also is another means to get someone to not reject their offer or their advances or whatnot, is to give a gift and then extend the gift to an invitation to come to church and be a part of. Those are all the patterns and recognition of recruiting into spiritual systems. It's interesting to me because while oftentimes Christians are often trying to attack other spiritual paths, they are the main ones. Anything that a cult could have learned, they learned it from Christianity. They learned the wicked tactics from Christianity. Okay, people don't talk about that enough. People do not talk about that enough because they would rather be the victim. But the truth is, yes, the whole coercion, coordinating, all of that is all from the Christian church, or even from, thank you, it's even from any of the Abrahamic. You got coordination, coercion, and covert. Okay, and covert, perverting people. These are things that you have to be aware of. Oh my gosh. Somebody texted. Thank you so much. Opinions, etc. Thank you for the roses. Thank you so much. Thank you for the roses. Somebody's texting me. I appreciate the love. Thank you. But all of this is not random. It's all simply a pattern, right? But when I was invited to the church, I wasn't invited because my system was disrupted. Not so much, but more so I was like, okay, I have raised my kids up in homeschooling and in my way of practice. So I wanted to share, like, I also have history and practice inside of Christian background. And so I wanted to share, what that may look like. And I also want them to be observant. And so really, we are going into this space to observe, right? And as we were observing things, and I began to pull back, my daughter, she began to pull back. My son, he's still a little more lenient towards, she's a little more open to, wanting to participate and attend church or whatnot. So, but I don't know. It's just about experience, and it's not to condemn or attack anyone at all about what their choices is in life, but it's just about the experience. And like I said, ultimately, what is important to me and this primordial intelligence and establishing a framework. What's important is that we develop our own systems. Okay. Developing our own systems and gaining a sense of control over our lives so that we're able to. Now, if you, I noticed that you're still hanging in there. If you are gaining anything from this video, I ask you, go ahead and like the screen, share the video, hit the follow button. Let me know what's going on. And also, if you're looking for more understanding and more in-depth learning of what it is that I'm talking about, you can also visit the link in my description, my bio, and schedule a one-on-one to join the community. I have a WhatsApp community. And also, a lot of our work is going to be going over to Patreon. I'm working really, really hard on making sure that I get this, videos and more teachings over to Patreon. So that's where a lot of this will be headed to us. Okay. Yeah. So, like I said, the framework is what's more important, and being able to grasp a sense of control over oneself and knowing who they are. However you need to gain control is about, what do you need in this lifetime? What is it that you need? What tools do you need in this lifetime to be able to enhance or assist you in your own growth, your spiritual development, and to be in alignment with your true self? What do you need in this lifetime? Well, just to go back to what I was talking about, continuing on as I'm discussing things. So the next part about the spiritual communities that I wanted to talk about, the other part about this visit with this church was, one day I was on the phone with my mom, and I get a call. So I click over, I answer the call, and a man contacts me saying that he is from this church. He was out and about with his son, and the kids were asking of my son. They were asking of him, asking his whereabouts and how he was doing. And they was wanted to know how he was doing because they hadn't seen him around, and they wanted to get him to, come back in church and see if he would like to, be visited by his kids. Okay. I Now, I only thought that the call was interesting because he didn't call to check on me as a parent. I don't even know him. When I was at church, nobody stopped me and like, introduced themselves to me at all, to on no friendly tip. Whenever I put my contact information into the system, I don't remember giving any personal information aside from, my phone number, but my phone number, my name, but outside of that, I didn't give anything else. But anyways, this individual had called and literally said that they were outside of my apartment and asking if 7 can come outside. Can 7 come outside? Because he got the boys with him. Can my son come outside? And they just want to check on him. This is why I said that it's like important to have your own sense of framework established before you start going into communities. You need to have your own system intact so you have control over yourself. Because what seems like a very subtle invitation, checking in, seeing how you're doing. I'm just trying to see how, the child is doing. What seems like it would be so subtle. It's not. That is not no genuine thing to do. If I didn't invite you over, you don't just show up at a person's house inviting yourself over there. You know what I'm saying? Like, we live in 2026. How many of y'all know people who have been hung, unalive, all type of things going on, and not returning back home because they out cutting grass, knocking on somebody's door, trying to see if somebody wants their grass cut on side the road, hoping to get some help and or help somebody. That's not something that we can do. We can't easily just go knocking at people's house and showing up unannounced, And the mere fact is that he wasn't even saying like, hey, is it okay if we stop by? He said he was already there. He just wanted to know what unit we lived in. He didn't even ask if it was okay. He was just already there. And he saying that they noticed that we haven't been coming. They want to check in on my son specifically. Outrageous. Out of order. Unacceptable. Unacceptable. If my son didn't have his, a sense of self, he'd be like, oh yeah, totally. That's crazy to me. So we gotta have conversations not only amongst each other as adults, but now we gotta have these type of conversations with our children, because that's intrusion upon people. That is not community. That's a violation of someone's privacy. That is not care. It's not care at all. That is control. I can't come to their house. Nobody gave me their address to their house. I don't want to be a part of a community that does something like that. Let it be an option, invitation for me to want to do something like that. Just showing up to my house unannounced, attempting to locate where I live, using my child as a point of access, that is not concern. To me, that is a breach in the system within my primordial system. Okay, and that's not something that I want to ignore. That's not something I want my kids to ignore. That's not something that I want you to ignore. It's important to be able to articulate yourself and to be able to name exactly what it is that's happening and experiencing inside of these religious communities, because it is indeed spiritual abuse, and it can manifest into other things, like being invited to a woman's group. And now you've invited to a woman's group where everybody knows your business, everybody knows what you're going through, whether it's good or bad. And now they're making the sermon to the woman's group. How can I help you? You have a lot of people that are watchers, and they have mental illnesses, and they have been going about life, basically not addressing their mental illnesses. And so people be needing help. People will be really needing help, making themselves susceptible to certain entities as they come along, especially individuals who haven't figured themselves out. Like, what the hell was that? I am not like on TikTok automatically accepts invitations on my freaking lives. Weird behavior. Anyways, you got to be able to articulate what it is that's happening, because things that may appear to be subtle or whatever could just be, you know, overstepping boundaries, seeing how much access you're willing to give them, how much influence that they can establish, how much control that they can maintain over you, your family, and how others perceive you. And then whenever you do start to clock it, catch it, right, you pull away, and then all of a sudden you'll see how the system will respond. Oh, there's a glitch. Have y'all seen the Truman Show? There's a glitch in the system. You remember that part of the movie when he was like, okay, I'm seeing that this is happening repetitive. What will happen if I break real quick? And he tried to shake everybody. As soon as he shook everybody, everybody just started acting out of character. Everybody just broke script all of a sudden. Yeah. Once you pull away, you gotta catch it and see how everybody else is going to respond. Because they expect for you to be following the script and that they have control over what it is that you're doing. I like to live my life very, very private for the most part. But I give a little bit of access, but not too much. And quite frankly, even me sitting here talking about what's going on right now, I already have a plan in place, for how things are going to be moving forward for myself. And I know what it is that I'm looking for, or where I am in life. Not really looking for, but just where I am in life, where I'm going back to. What's wrong?
I was going to house.
Yeah, I'm about to come in there too. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I am definitely going to be breaking very soon. Because, like I said, I gotta go off script a little bit, right? See how things are going. See how people respond to certain things. And because I am familiar with this certain type of patterns and stuff, what I expect that they're going to try to contact me. This is another reason why I don't really go about talking and telling people about who are my close friends. You need to know that. Why? You'll need to know. Next thing you know, you be trying to reach out to them and try to show some concern. I got screen recordings of that, where people who I know that I have cut off have been reaching out to close relatives, friends, and trying to inquire about my whereabouts and access my energy. I've witnessed individuals do this and even try to plant different narratives. Oh, I'm just worried about her. How's she doing? So she be acting funny. She be acting different, right? And all that they're simply just trying to do is destabilize your credibility and who you are before you even speak. And their hopes is that you're disconnected and also exiled and not being supported, so that they can paint a facade, a narrative about you to other individuals. Again, it is to discredit you, right? Destabilize your credibility. So if that is if you do begin to speak, right, then there's already doubt surrounding you. There's already people who is already doubting you based off of what they have already sown and planted in other people's heads, because other people don't have the capability to be able to think for themselves. So they have to run to others and join in allegiance with what others are doing, especially those individuals who have no sense of self, and they are hoping that they can extract from you and your creativity, your flow, and they want to take from you. Hell yeah, there's going to be a group of people sitting back studying you, studying your mannerisms and what it is that you're talking about. Hell yeah, they're going to be doing that. Hell yeah, they want in on the invitation and the whereabouts. That's the only way that they will be able to connect with each other, because anything outside of that, anything that is authentic, would be chaotic for them. They wouldn't even be able to stand a chance. They have to come together, and you are the main source of that. Oh, I just went off in a tangent. I didn't even mean to do that. I did not mean to do that. I did not mean to do that. But if they can get you into a state of fear, or urgency, or emotional reaction, then they can influence your behavior. Especially if you're reacting. If you're reacting in a negative manner, oh yeah, that's even better. You're not thinking clearly. You're not thinking well. You're emotional or whatnot. You're not grounded. You're not operating from a sovereign seat. Another part of that conversation in the sovereign seat is that helps to assist them in what the outcome will be and how others will perceive you. Right? You ever been in a situation where you're dealing with conflict, and then out of nowhere, hey, hi there. I just saw you text me, but what did you say? I've been on this live. I had to get my video in for the day. But yeah, if someone can get you destabilized and reacting poorly, it will help them to control the narrative of who you are. So it's important for you to be working aimlessly on establishing your own sovereign systems by utilizing the primordial intelligence, the code that you already have within inside of you. You gotta recognize the real tactics. You have to be able to regulate yourself when you're in the presence of these individuals. How's your day going, Ice? Also, I'm gonna call you whenever I get off of here. Probably like in the next 5 minutes. We got to talk. It's been raining. I had decided that I'm going to come outside and catch the rain, and I had to make my video. It's been a good one. I'm definitely going to make sure I get this uploaded and put onto YouTube. YouTube. Again, it's like whenever you notice these patterns or whatnot, you want to make sure that you are not. We are supposed to go live, but you said that you was gonna have. We was gonna cover some topics throughout the week. You want to go live later today? We can still do that. What do you think? Let me know. We can do that. I'm gonna get something to eat. I can go live with you right after this. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. But yeah, so once you get to the point where you've established a system within yourself with control, right, you're no longer going to be reacting or over-explaining yourself or feeling the need to defend your character and systems that are designed to misunderstand you. I got you. I'll make sure I let you know. It's important to be able to embody stillness. Be aware, but be still. Become very, very clear in your boundaries, right? Whenever you are in the presence of these individuals and you say it's time to go, then it's time to go. It's time to go. You don't have to explain that. Oh, but I'm just trying to figure out, I just want to know if you'll be able to. No, I got something to do. It's important that I leave now. And then get to walking out the door. Right? Or become boring when people try to check in on you or something. Oh, nothing. I'm not doing anything. Just sitting here. No, yeah. Become uninterested. Uninteresting. You're so creative. You're so beautiful. Oh, you so want to take that. Oh, I'm not doing anything. I just ain't been really feeling it. That's what this. That's a good way to go about. Feeding the system with your absence. Learn to stop doing. Learn to stop doing. Right. Be more intentional and limit what you share so that you can preserve your essence to protect your information. Create simple things and just stick to them. Stick to what you know you need to do. Like, no negotiation on the things that you have to do, because at the end of the day, this is about you preserving your essence, as I said before. So, yeah. I'm Eva Kolade, Umilade, Fatosine of Sacred Waters Healing Temple, your primordial intelligence facilitator, helping you, assisting you in obtaining, right, the cosmic codes that you need in order to return to your true self. That is what I am doing. We're recognizing these patterns and protecting our energetic sovereignty. And understanding that not every space is an invitation for you. Okay? It's not, every space is not supposed to be in alignment just because you're an individual that seeks out meaning and values in life. That is for you. That's for you, not for other people. It's simply for you so that you can grow and become the better version of yourself in this reality. Right? Some of the things that you may need is in alignment with you and your growth, and then some things are in alignment with your demise, in alignment with trying to control you. But when you tap into that primordial essence, that primordial intelligence, your primordial being, you will know the difference and be able to navigate with clarity and provision. Asha, thank you all for joining the chat. I'm about to go back inside because I've enjoyed enough of the rain and I am cold and I haven't eaten and it is the afternoon. So I'm going to go ahead and let y'all go. This video will be on YouTube. So if you want to catch it on YouTube, you're more than welcome. Go find YouTube, Sacred Waters Healing Temple. Go like, comment, and subscribe. Until next time, we'll dabble.